Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a T20 classic that was, an absolute nail-biter. It was defined by some seriously explosive batting and a finish that went right down to the wire. And this is what it all came down to. An entire high-scoring, action-packed T20 match where over 440 runs were scored was decided by this tiny margin. Just 6 runs. So how on earth did that happen? Let's break it down. Just look at these scores. Wow, both teams threw absolutely everything they had at each other, putting up massive totals that, let's be honest, would win most T20 games pretty comfortably. But on this day, only one could come out on top. So how did the Blazing Rockets manage to post a score just big enough and then defend it by the slimmest of margins? So, how did we get to such a dramatic finish? Well, it all started with what you can only call a complete run fest. This wasn't just a cricket match. It was an offensive explosion right from the get-go. Boundaries were flying, bowlers were under constant pressure, and you have to imagine the scoreboard operator was working overtime. Both teams just came out with incredible intent, trading blows from the very first ball. All right, first up, let's take a look at how the Blazing Rockets built their massive total. A score of 224 doesn't just happen. It's built on a solid foundation and a blistering finish. You can actually see their strategy unfold right here. They started off pretty steadily, reaching their first 50 in 7 overs. But then just look at how their scoring rate exploded after that. They hit 100 in just over 11 overs, and then added the next 100 runs in only 6 more overs. That is some serious acceleration. And these are the guys who were responsible for that foundation. Solid, really quick-fire 50s from Raju and Ankit set a fantastic platform. They kept the scoreboard ticking over nicely, and with a crucial 50-run partnership for the 5th wicket, they made sure the Rockets were perfectly positioned for a big-time assault late in the innings. But here's the thing. A solid platform wasn't enough to get to that massive total of 224. To go from a good score to a great one, something extraordinary had to happen. And boy, did it ever. Well, the answer comes down to one player who completely changed the game in just a handful of deliveries. He walked in, saw the platform that had been set for him, and just decided to launch an all-out attack. That's all it took. 16 deliveries. Let's break down what has to be one of the most explosive and game-changing innings you will ever see. Honestly, this was the turning point of the entire match. Pardeep smashed 50 runs in just 16 balls. That's a scoring rate of more than 3 runs per ball. It was just absolute carnage. And how did he get those runs? Well, mostly by sending the ball into the stands. His whirlwind innings included an incredible 7 sixes, clearing the boundary with what looked like effortless power. And it all adds up to this, a mind-blowing strike rate of over 271. Now, to put that into perspective, a strike rate of 150 is considered excellent in T20s. Pradeep was, he was pretty much operating on another planet. And he didn't do it entirely on his own either. He and Ankit put on a devastating 52-run partnership in just 3 overs. That's only 18 balls, completely taking the game away from the Mohali club's bowlers and rocketing their team to a formidable total. So yeah, no surprise at all that his game-changing performance earned him the Player of the Match award. The crucial point here is that while other players built the foundation, his little cameo was the X factor. The real difference between a competitive score and a winning one. But hold on, the match was far from over. Faced with a pretty daunting target, Mohali Club started their chase with some incredible intent of their own. And they kept pace brilliantly. Throughout the whole chase, they were right there with the required run rate. They hit their own milestones at a blistering pace and just never let the pressure get to them. They were in this fight until the very, very end. And it was crucial partnerships that really powered this chase. Just when the pressure would start to mount, players like Gaurav and Rajiv delivered. Their quick-fire 51-run stand for the 6th wicket dragged their team right back into the contest. It was this refusal to give up that kept the game on an absolute knife edge. Okay, so this brings us to the climax, a game of massive scores that was ultimately decided by the smallest of margins. And this chart here brilliantly illustrates the key players who shaped this incredible contest. You see the half-centuries for the Rockets, you see the bowlers like Saurabh Bedi and Mahavir who tried to stem the flow of runs, but, it's impossible to look past that top line.
Pardeep's explosive 16-ball 50 just stands out as the single most impactful performance of the day.
Ultimately, it's just a stark reminder that in this format, every single run counts, every dot ball is precious, and every boundary can shift the momentum. It makes you wonder, what do you think is more important in a high-scoring T20 match like this? Building a consistent, steady foundation, or having that one player who can produce an explosive, game-changing finish?